sugar-coated, but we're working on it, right? As a result, there is a very interesting consequence. And Jared, who created the script for me, wrote, "This is amazing news," right? You find others who think it's challenging news, right? But according to the latest census, your Purdue ME engineering program enrolls now a total of 4,034 students in one school. And that makes us the largest mechanical engineering program in the nation. So it's significant, right? We're producing, in my mind, probably the best prepared engineers. I put our BS programs right at the top of any program in the nation, right? But now we're producing them at the largest amount in the nation. So a lot more Purdue engineers out there. I think that's really great for us. For many years, Georgia Tech was a little bit ahead of us, but we now have surpassed them, and it's not even close, right? So there's almost 1,000 student delta now that we have. And so what does it really mean for Purdue, right? First of all, if you don't already, you're part of the academic leader in the country of educating engineering talent. Comparing one school with another has always relied on perception, right? If you go to News and World Report, they rank order programs, and the discipline-specific programs are 100% ranked on just the perception of all the different department heads coming together and judging other things. And perceptions may be in the eye of the beholder, but one thing that we can't change, or that nobody will be able to change, is that we are the largest program in the country, and that will stay for a while, right? So I think that may change some of these perceptions. But it also means that we can offer our students more than other schools can offer. And I think that's really the message we're trying to build up and bring out. We offer programs in all kinds, but motorsports is a good example, right? In Indianapolis, we offer the only accredited motorsports engineering program in the country. It's headquartered at the Dallara building in Speedway, right across from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it's being part of a team like this that sometimes we can offer things that a smaller school would just not be able to do. We can also offer many more experiential learning opportunities. If you're a student at Purdue, and we have 2,900 ME students alone now in the school, you can pursue any type of club activity that you like to do, right? Because we have a club for everybody, right? All kinds of things, right? And that's, again, something that a smaller school could not do. But we can even do other things, right? We can offer experiential learning activities like studying abroad, which is very close to my heart because that's how I came to this country, and I still want to give back, and I want to give these opportunities to as many Purdue students as I can. And so right now, our census says that 43% of our graduating seniors have a global experience. With that, we're close to leading the nation. There is a school in Atlanta that's a little bit ahead of us, but they have a campus in France, and they're running summer programs there, and they're sending their faculty with students to France, and they call that study abroad. And yes, they get a global experience in France, but ultimately, you could argue we do 43% with just partner universities. That's a truly different experience. That's a life-changing experience. And that's significant. The national average in engineering is maybe just a little over 5% of engineering students. We're at over 40. We're definitely leading the nation. So that's exciting. But we also offer exceptionally industry opportunities. We have connections to some of the biggest employers on the planet, as you can imagine, because if they come to Purdue, they can recruit lots of students, right? So everybody wants to come to Purdue because we have the talent, we have an outstanding program, and we have the numbers to supply. And so I would guess that many of you have gotten your first job and your first activity in a job fair, in a co-op networking event, right? All the different things that we offer. And SAIS leads to some other significant benefits, because so far Purdue has supported us in SAIS, and we were able to hire. We have increased our faculty count. We're up to 100 or so faculty now, like 99 is the head count. And with more faculty comes more research activity, comes more graduate students, all numbers that matter in rankings of this world. So our research expenditures this last fiscal year have an all-time high of $55 million just on research alone. To put that into context, Arvin visited our ME Advisory Council today and reported for the same period 250 million for the year. Did I say 55? Anything? I hope I said 55 million. But right out of 250 million for the college, 55 million are ME alone, right? And we have 11 schools in the college, right? So we certainly a significant part that drives the college. So global research, industry, team projects, those are 4 things that are very important to me and that we are very important to the School of ME, to our students that we roll out. And we like to put acronyms on stuff like this. We call it GRID for Global Research, Industry, and Team Projects. And we have an initiative in ME that we call, I would like to have all of our students a true grid, meaning I would like for all of them to do one out of one in each category, 4 out of 4. And so we're in pursuit of 100% grid. When they graduate, we give out grid awards or grid certifications. And happy to report that this May, out of roughly 400 students graduating, a little over 40 students received the certificate. So we're at 10% with 4 out of 4. So still a way to go to 100%. But if you go down to 3 out of 4 and 2 out of 4. Like with 2 out of 4, we're almost at way over 90%. 1 out of 4, clearly we're at 100%. So we're making great progress on that level. So sometimes bigger can be better because we can offer these opportunities to our students, and that comes with SAIS. And that brings me to one other monumental change to the school, which is our mechanical engineering building itself. This building, which originally was built in 1929, was bursting at the seams before this massive increase in students. So you can imagine that we are long overdue for an ME building renovation. Many of you toured the building today. And so for the past year, we have been, the ME family, like faculty, students, have been a little bit scattered around campus, but when the ME building is done next year, we'll all come back, and we're going to have upgraded classrooms, new instructional labs, added elevators, and restrooms for both male and female on every floor. Super exciting about that. Brand new entrance with an elevator that provides access to every floor, conveniently located at the main entrance. So it's really just exciting. And if you follow us on social media and on YouTube channels, you can see progress that has been made over the months. Jared does a good job of videographing me on film and putting me in the web. I'm always a little worrisome what he does, but it turns out quite nice. It's a huge change, right? And we really built this or renovated this building to accommodate the growth that we see in students. And so for us, it's a super exciting activity. we're going to have a ribbon cutting for that new building when we open it officially on August 22nd, Friday, August 22nd, 25 next summer. The building will be done much earlier. It may already be done around March, but then we take some time to reoccupy and move everything in and set everything up. The grand opening is on August 22nd next year with the start of the fall semester, and you're all invited to come back and put this on your calendar, and it's going to be a great showcase. So I'd like to thank those who have supported our efforts. There are a few of you here in this room who have also financially supported this effort. It's a $25 million renovation project, and which truly encourages us to do more, to do better, and inspires us to create the next generation of future Boilermakers. So once again, thank you very much for coming tonight. We're going to have, hopefully, we're going to have some great stories from our awardees tonight. For now, I will ask you to please enjoy your salads, and then dinner will be served. And then Jared Pike, who sits in the back there, will be the master of ceremonies later on. And he will start with our program around 8 p.m. or so. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for enjoying your time with us, enjoying dinner with us. Dessert is coming. It is flourless chocolate torte. Is that right? That I made myself? Or asked somebody to order, which is just as good? My name is Jared Pike. I'm the communications director for the School of Mechanical Engineering here at Purdue. My job is to find and celebrate the unique stories of our faculty, staff, students, and alumni. And as you can see by the superstars here tonight, there won't be a shortage of these anytime soon. We are here tonight to present the Outstanding Mechanical Engineer Awards, and from our 20,000 alumni around the world, pay honor to some of the most accomplished. Tonight, 11 of you join the ranks of the best, outstanding mechanical engineers. It is my privilege to introduce our 2024 recipients. Now, I want to give you a few logistical tips. Once I introduce you, please come up and join us on the podium and share just a few minutes remembrance of your time at Purdue, some wise words for the young people in the audience. Keep the profanity down. I'm just saying, this is a family gig. And then afterwards, Eckhart will present you with your award kind of over here and pose for a photo while everyone's looking, which isn't awkward at all. It is perfectly normal. Also, I want to remind you, Eckhart mentioned our motorsports program. Well, we have here in our hot little hands the Purdue Motorsports calendar for 2025. Now, it's a different Purdue Motorsports team every month. And who took these photos? I took those photos. Wow, they're great, Jared. Thank you, is what I assume all of you are saying. And this calendar is available not anywhere, but here tonight. Yeah. And then next month when you get them all in the mail. But you get the first advanced copies of the Purdue Motorsports 2025 calendar. So make sure you get one on your way out. All right, we got the logistics, we got the trophies. Eckhart is ready to go. And all right, let's start. We start with David Altenau, who used his mechanical engineering degree to go into a unique field, visual effects for television and movies. He started out working for Warner Brothers, Pacific Titles, and Cinesite before founding his own company, Fuse FX. That company is now one of a portfolio of production companies under the umbrella of Pitch Black, for which David is the chairman. If you've watched any TV show or movie in the 21st century, chances are you've seen his work. Or if he's done his job properly as a visual effects supervisor, you haven't realized you've seen his work. Ladies and gentlemen, an outstanding mechanical engineer, David Altenau.
Get to go first. Hello. Well, first, thank you for this honor. I mean, I've already met a handful of you guys, and most everyone is a lot smarter than I am, so I'm just really happy to be here, and thank you for Professor Grove and the Mechanical Engineering Department for selecting me for this. It's really fantastic. I love the reconnection to Purdue's mechanical engineering program, and it's really fantastic to be here. So another thank you I want to make is my good friend Jim Denny. He came, and he's a fellow mechanical engineer. He's here tonight, and really one of my best friends. And we started in Fowler Courts, and I graduated in 1988. He was 87 since I co-opted, and those no longer exist. So the one thing I was really anxious to come back and see, those have been torn down. But we had some good times in Fowler, and you know, you can ask Jim about the night he spent in jail when we were our freshman year. But those were really fun. But thank you a lot for Jim for being here. And one of the most valuable things I got out of Purdue, besides analytical thinking was my friendship with Jim. I also want to thank my wife, Jenny. She's here, and I've spent the last 30 years convincing her that a technical degree is better than a liberal arts degree. And for a while, I thought she was winning that argument, but the tide has turned. So now I think she's on the side of an engineering degree is more valuable. But thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it, and all through my career. And obviously, she's been very supportive, and I'm so happy she's here. Even she went to one of those Ivy League schools. Anyway, so there's my thank yous. In terms of just relating, I spent a lot of my career debating, am I really an engineer? I think a lot of us do that. I migrated into engineering services, forensic engineering, and then ended up in Hollywood doing special effects. And I just really credit Purdue and my education for really analytical thinking and problem solving. And I think about all those homework assignments we did where you had to list we rewrite the problem and then the equations that were available to you and then the assumptions, no air friction and all that stuff. And as a curse to my liberal arts wife, I'm so logical because of that. I'm like I think of everything as a logic tree, basically. It's like, well, this could happen or this could happen, and prepare it that way. And really, that's helped me as an entrepreneur in doing the Hollywood creative business I've done is really critical thinking and given me great balance. So I credit that a lot, and I love telling people I went to Purdue, and it's always amazing when people are like, oh, Purdue, engineering, that's phenomenal. Even in California, we're a bunch of fruits and nuts out there. So that's about it. Thank you. I love being here, and it's such an honor. So.
David, you probably use that green engineering paper, right? To write that stuff on. Do they still do that? That green paper? See, the more things change, the more they stay the same. All right, next up is David Goh, who is the Vice President and Associate Provost for Academic Strategy at the University of Notre Dame. Now, David has probably spent the entire evening reminding everyone that his football team beat our football team 66-7 earlier this year. And while that may sting a bit, remind me, who is the largest mechanical engineering program in the nation? Who it is? I can't remember. Can you bring the graphic back up? No, that's all right. I remember. It's Purdue, where David got his PhD in 2008. And he continued on conducting research in plasma science, fluid dynamics, and chemical analysis. Please welcome an outstanding mechanical engineer, David Goh.
Thank you very much. First of all, I am absolutely humbled to be up here and to read about all the other distinguished honorees. It is really an incredible honor to be considered even among their peers. So I was reflecting back on my time at Purdue, and the thing about Purdue is that it had me from day one, had me from day zero. I had graduated from Notre Dame, and I was working in industry, and I knew I wanted to go get my PhD. And I had visited a handful of other Big Ten schools, and nothing was clicking. And I came to visit Purdue in 2003 in November, and I parked on Northwestern Avenue, and I crossed the street, and I walked between the material science building and the Double E building, and I walked into this quad where it's like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, material science, chemical engineering, the engineering fountain, and I was like, yep, it was like walking into Narnia for me, right? It was like, this is the place where I needed to be. I want to take a minute to really thank my advisors who are actually no longer faculty here, but Tim Fisher and Suresh Garamella. As you can tell by my title, I've ascended into leadership in academia. And when I look at my PhD committee, it's really no surprise. Suresh, Tim, Eckhard Grohl, Bill Chappell, Dimitri Poulos, there are university presidents, vice presidents, department chairs, school heads among that small group. And it just reflects how Purdue attracts just incredibly talented faculty here. And not only do they impart on us incredible wisdom and technical skills, but they really nurture future leaders in the engineering world. And I'm just incredibly grateful that I got to be a part of that environment, and it has helped me flourish in my own career. Finally, I want to thank my wife, Beth, who's here with me, and my two children, Indiana and Donovan, who aren't. Beth, she took a leap. We moved to West Lafayette, Indiana, with a 9-month-old daughter to live on a graduate student stipend for 4 years. And that's not an easy task, but she's been with me every step of the way. And in addition to raising my two wonderful children, has also built her own wonderful career. And I could not be more grateful for everything you've done for me, so thank you as well. And as a final note, and I will deny it if you tell anyone at Notre Dame I said this, but boiler up. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Now, up next in the program is Moo Hyung Lee, who unfortunately cannot be here tonight. So let's meet our next recipient. Our next recipient works at Apple, which is near and dear to my heart as a creative professional. Without him, we wouldn't be able to charge our laptops, our iPhones, our Apple Watches. Cesar and his team are responsible for the product design of all Apple's AC/DC devices globally. He has launched over 30 products and has over 20 patents. He got to start with Motorola and then moved on to Apple as a senior manager in product design. He has since become a distinguished engineer at Apple, and he's an outstanding mechanical engineer from Purdue. Ladies and gentlemen, Cesar Lozano.
Hi, everyone. I want to start with a little bit of story about my picture there. I'm not into social media, so when LinkedIn got started, I was encouraged, well, I actually encouraged myself to, put the funniest picture I could find. So that was JCPenney in Lafayette many, many years ago, and those glasses are actually from my mother-in-law that's sitting over there. So thank you, Mom, for that. I'm extremely happy to be back at Purdue, and I'm honored to receive this award. And I want to start saying thank you to my parents. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them instilling a very strong moral compass. They gave me the opportunity to go to a great English-speaking school in Mexico with great math and science. And they taught me that everything is possible. And anything can be accomplished if you have the will and the time. To my wife, Ashley, the best gift that Purdue gave me, and to believing in all my crazy ideas and supporting me to chase them. Thank you. And to the people who believed in me, to my professors at the time, namely Dave Anderson and John Starkey, they reinforced my love to learn. To become better and smarter every day, and I really miss being in school, thanks to them. I'm proud to remain connected with the School of Mechanical Engineering and getting to know the rest of the recipients. Every day I'm reminded that the world was designed by people that were less capable than us. Less capable because they lacked better education, information, experience, tools, technology, collaboration, and a good social support network. And I'm looking forward to seeing Purdue and its graduates tackle one of the most important problems today, and to not let profits guide the way. For example, we desperately need more equitable education, which Purdue is doing, better and cleaner electrification. We need better transportation, less pollution, less waste, more automated systems, better sustainability, healthcare, more predictable currencies, and the list just goes on and on and on. And for that, we will need better and smarter Purdue mechanical engineers. And one last thing, I'm encouraging myself and all award recipients to be more involved with Purdue. Rather than associating with a specific sport, there's many more activities that we can associate as scientists and engineers. For me, I'm looking forward to Purdue Motorsports, EV, being in the top 5 soon. I actually learned today that the Formula EV can now accept the 600-volt battery architecture and more than 100 horsepower. If you can imagine that in a vehicle that weighs 400 pounds, it's absolutely crazy. And I'm hoping to see you folks in some of those events, so thank you.
Cesar, you've also taught the students here a valuable lesson. Update your LinkedIn photos. You never know, they could show up on a TV screen in front of all of your friends and family. Just saying. All right, Stacy McCarthy has a foot in the mechanical world and a foot in the aero world, as she has Purdue degrees from both schools. In her 30 years of experience, she has helped to develop and manage multiple aerospace projects, specializing in the aeroacoustics of turbo machinery. Please join me in welcoming the newest outstanding mechanical engineer, Stacy McCarthy.
I'll start by saying Purdue is a great place. And great people make great places. If you need any proof of that, just look around this room. So I've been influenced by a lot of people at Purdue and my family. My family helped to build Purdue. My great-grandfather was a bricklayer and helped to build the red brick buildings here at Purdue. My grandfather on my mom's side was a pipe fitter and helped to build the power plant. So we have deep roots at Purdue. My parents are here, and they equipped me with the tools to be successful in school and beyond school in my career, and I thank them for that. And my Purdue career did start in the aero school. I know there's a little bit of competition there. I was one of the first students for Dr. Heister in his propulsion class. And I had the privilege of having lunch with him today. He told me that, amongst other things, the last 4 astronauts from Purdue were his students. And he's very proud of that. I'm very proud of being part of Purdue and part of that legacy as well. For grad school, I did switch over to the ME school. Loved working at Zucro. At the time, it was TSPC. I worked for the late Dr. Fleeter. That's where I met my husband, Jim. And I also worked with Dr. Patrick Lawless, who had a huge influence on me. I went on to work with him at Exelero Corporation, and from Pat was the first that I heard of Dr. Grohl, and he had only the highest accolades, and the same thing for Dr. Key. And any of you who know Pat Lawless, that's huge to get a compliment from him. So I wanted to let both of you know that. And I wanted to also say that anytime I'm out in industry at a conference, I see Purdue alumni, and it's really great. last month was at the TETS conference, Turbine Engine Technology Symposium, and it was almost like a Zucro alumni reunion, including Chuck Cross, who was an OME from 2 years ago. So it was great to see those people. And so lastly, I'm optimistic about the future of Purdue. Earlier today, I got to talk to Dr. Beth Holloway, and she told me about the initiatives and the work that she's doing for women and minorities in engineering. So a lot of great things coming up there. So I'm grateful for those who built the foundation. I'm grateful for those who have influenced me, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens for the future of Purdue and those who are elevating Purdue. So great people make great places, and Purdue is great.
Our next recipient got his bachelor's, master's, and PhD from Purdue and went to work for ExxonMobil, working in management and computer simulation. He has since served as CEO and COO at a range of oil and gas companies. Right now, he's Chief Executive Officer at Freedom Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Michael McCracken.
Hey, good evening. This is a real honor. As I said earlier, when you just look at the other people who have been recognized as outstanding mechanical engineers, it's a real privilege to receive this recognition, and I really just want to thank all the professors and all the people who have poured into my life and influenced me. I can remember when I first came here, I was driving my car around campus, and I was like, I'm not sure if my high school prepared me for this. And somehow or another, I made it through the first 2 semesters just fine. Then I took ME 200 with Norm Lorindo. And I don't know if any of you guys had a class with Professor Lorindo, but my first exam, I think I scored like a 33. And the low in the class was like a 31. So like, I knew I was pretty much like at the bottom. And I took that test and I put a magnet and I put it on my refrigerator. And every morning, I woke up and looked at my test score as motivation to get my butt in gear. But through all of through all that the faculty and the school has put in, ultimately when I went and was studying for my PhD, somehow I scored the highest grade on the qualifying exam for thermodynamics. So I went from a 33 to doing okay. Thank you all for that. I also want to thank my wife. She put up with me staying here for way too long. She had opportunities to go a lot of different places, craft foods and other exciting spots, but instead decided that she would work at Staley's, which they used to call Stinky Staley's, which I think is now named something else. So yeah, so she put up with a marginal work environment for a while, and I appreciate that. I guess after I graduated, I left here and went to ExxonMobil. That was a great, stable career, but I kind of always said that God gave me 2 drivers in life. One was to understand how things work, and the other was to make a buck. And I just really enjoyed entrepreneurship, and so I can remember probably the hardest decision I've had to make in my career was basically you're going to leave the stable job that you have and kind of just jump out there. And we had 2 young kids, and just really thinking about that, praying about that, and Cindy basically had my back and said, okay, well, we'll go do this. And so left ExxonMobil, and that led into a kind of an entrepreneurial path that's led to a string of private equity back businesses, and that's really turned out to be a real blessing for us and has given us an opportunity to give back. And that's another theme I'd like to say is, like, I would just really encourage everyone, may not just be financially, but in other ways, give back to those who've poured into you, and and Boiler Up.
Thank you, Michael. Is there anyone here who hasn't gotten a 30 on a thermo exam? I think everybody has fallen into that. All right, our next recipient works to keep everyone cool, or warm, depending on what part of the country you live in. After getting his master's at Purdue, he worked for various HVAC companies such as Trane and Carrier before joining Rheem as a senior principal engineer. He has 28 patents to his name and 25 more pending. Please welcome an outstanding mechanical engineer, Kevin Mercer.
Well, I would like to thank a few people that came a long ways tonight. My very dear friend, Tom Lawrence. Tom was a big support for me at Purdue. My first year here was a little tough. I can relate with getting 30s on thermo exams, and I'm from deep South Texas, and so coming up to the Midwest, the climate was different, and the people are a little bit different here than they are where I grew up. And so it was a bit of a culture shock. I grew up in a certain way, and there's so much more differences in the Midwest, and a lot of times at Purdue, I was struggling a little bit that first semester, and Tom was always there to lift me up, and I'm so happy he's here tonight, Tom. And then my wife, I met my wife here at Purdue. Several of you guys have also met your spouses here. I met Angela, I think we weren't here a month, and she helped me through as well. And then my parents, my dad instilled a work ethic in me, and I feel that really helped get me through. The second semester was a lot smoother, but just had to get in gear and get things right, and I feel I was able to get through that last year. The thing about Purdue that I have so much admiration and gratitude to this institution. I can't stress, I love the acronym Eckert about grit, because to make it through here, you got to have grit. And I feel just amazingly humbled to be up here with all this same company. It's humbling. The one story I wanted to tell was I've done a lot of projects for HVAC companies, and at times have felt that I've made a lot of my executive leaders a lot of money. But when the pandemic hit in 2020, we got a phone call that we needed to be able to make hundreds of thousands of negative air machines. At that point in time, we didn't know if we were going to have hundreds of thousands of people across this country infected with COVID and what the pandemic was really going to look like. It was looking very scary in Europe, and Donald Trump had a task force, and there were plans being made for hundreds of thousands of treatment centers across this entire country. And every single one of those rooms is called an AIR room, an airborne infection isolation room for treatment. And every single one of those rooms would need a negative air machine. And so I got a call to invent one, build it, change over all of our manufacturing lines, and have it ready in 8 weeks to be able to ship in case it really got bad. My mother-in-law was at our house almost every day in those times, and I think she'll tell you I was on the phone just telling everybody else what to do day after day after day. But we converted an air handler line. We had several lines in Monterrey, Mexico, and in North America, and we converted those lines in really record time. And boy, was that the project that was the definition of grit, hard work. And I always look back on that and think the power of the ingenuity of an organization the size of Carrier. It reminds me the size, when Eckerd, you're talking about the size of Purdue Engineering and what you can do here. Having the size of that organization and pulling together with a focused deliverable, it wasn't about making money at that point, it was about saving lives. We didn't know what we didn't know. And having those machines was essential. And so I kind of feel like that was something that was a little bit more than worrying about making money. It was like everybody come together and buckle down, and where we could, tried to do something that we thought could really make an impact. I mean, we converted our lines to make these machines, and we made hundreds of thousands of them. School districts bought them. They went to hospitals. And so that's one of the things that I look back on my time here, and I felt the same way as a grad student. But it's truly an honor to be here. I'm so proud to be associated with Purdue. I mean, anywhere in the world you go, all of you can relate. If you say you're from Purdue, everybody goes, oh, wow. I mean, it doesn't matter, anywhere in the world. Honestly, if I say I'm from Texas Tech, they say, what? Texas Tech? I have to say Red Raiders, Patrick Mahomes. Oh, okay. Then they know. But it's, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Brent Rankin is a senior research engineer at the Air Force Research Laboratory in Dayton, Ohio. His specialty is combustion, especially as it relates to gas turbines. After getting his bachelor's, master's, and PhD from Purdue, he put his expertise to work in conducting fundamental research for combustors, including optical diagnostics, modeling and simulation, and analysis techniques. His work is enabling the next generation of propulsion technology. Ladies and gentlemen, an outstanding mechanical engineer, Brent Rankin.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you so much. It is always great to be back at Purdue. I am sincerely honored to be receiving the Outstanding Mechanical Engineer Award from such an exceptional university as Purdue. As I walked around campus earlier today, it was amazing to see the growth that has occurred over the past couple years and will certainly continue in the future. It is also a great opportunity to reflect tonight on the impact that a Purdue education has had on my career. My undergraduate and graduate education in the School of Mechanical Engineering provided an outstanding foundation and has contributed significantly to my current career at the Air Force Research Laboratory. I especially value Purdue's emphasis on connecting fundamental knowledge with practical applications and connecting experiments with theory to solve important grand challenge problems that we address in the aerospace propulsion and national security communities in which I currently work. The excellent faculty, staff, and students at Purdue have always fostered an outstanding environment of collaboration and continual learning through coursework, research, and outreach, which I remember today with sincere appreciation. And I will continue to rely upon lessons that I first learned at Purdue throughout the remainder of my career. I would like to thank the mechanical engineering faculty for the support that they provided and contributed to my education while I was at Purdue, and also for recognizing me here tonight with this award. In particular, I'd like to thank Professor Jay Gore and his colleagues at the Zucrow Labs, where I did my PhD research. I could not have imagined when I graduated 12 years ago that I would be standing up here today receiving this award. And I would also like to thank my colleagues at the Air Force Research Laboratory. As many of you know, rewards are often given to individuals, but they truly reflect the contributions from a greater team working towards a common mission and a common set of goals. On a personal note, I'd like to thank my parents and my brother for always encouraging my educational endeavors. And I would also like to thank my wife, Caitlin, who is here with me tonight, for her enduring love and support. In closing, let me just say that I'm truly honored and grateful to be considered an outstanding mechanical engineer from Purdue. Thank you.
I had the pleasure of meeting our next honoree in 2019. His startup company was working on a vaccine patch, which had tiny microneedles that administered medication at a set rate with virtually none of the pain of a typical injection. Now, at the time, I thought, that's a fascinating invention, but it's not like vaccines are going to become important anytime soon. So anyway, startups seem to be in his blood, as he's helped companies like Google and Honda launch products, and now he is an expert in residence at the Harvard Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an outstanding mechanical engineer, Michael Schrader.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thank you for the humbling honor of coming back here to Purdue. 12 years ago, I and 3 other co-founders started Vaxxas with the goal of improving global vaccine access. The name Vaxxas came from a combination of vaccine and access. We put those two together, and that's ultimately the problem that we work to solve through the suite of technologies that I think were so eloquently described. With really a dream of mailing vaccines to people at their homes, you could take the patch, apply it to your arm, wear it for 5 minutes, take it off, and throw it away. It was an amazing 12-year adventure. I left that company in February, and I'm now working on a new company, actually in the space occupied by Neuralink, many of you may be familiar with. So trying to put implants actually into people's brains to treat diseases like Parkinson's, epilepsy, but also over the long term, potentially think about kind of human-machine interface in a very, very different way. And I think both of these companies are a testament to Purdue and the School of Mechanical Engineering, because I have not taken a class in biology since my freshman year of high school. But I think the one thing that this university taught me is how to learn, unlearn, and relearn complex topics very quickly and easily, no matter the field. And that's the gift that I feel like, Purdue bestowed upon me, and for that I will be forever grateful. I just want to thank a couple people that are here tonight, have supported me along the journey. Both of my parents are here. My father was an engineer for 40 years, introduced me to the field of engineering, but also provided an immense amount of stability to me in my life so that I could go and take these wild leaps off into these crazy ventures, knowing if they failed, I always had a wonderful backstop. And my mom was equally inspirational. She spent 20 or 25 years as an accountant while I was growing up to help provide for me, and then actually went back to school to get a degree in biology while I was here at Purdue. Taught me the lesson that it's never too late to really pursue your passions and do the things that mean the most to you. So grateful to both of them for the inspiration along the way. Also want to thank my 4 kids. 2 of them are here today. That's 4 kids, so if you could hold that tuition freeze for, another 14 years or so, that would be fantastic. And lastly, I want to thank my wife, who couldn't come here today. Unfortunately, she's home with 2 of our children. I actually met her here at Purdue, so it was the greatest gift the university gave me. And I have to say, I'm pretty excited about her support for my new startup, because she knows better than anyone else that I've got a few cross wires up here. So I think I will likely be candidate number 1 for the brain implant when it becomes available. So grateful for her support over the years. So just want to wrap up and say thanks again for the privilege and opportunity of coming. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Our next recipient has made huge strides in the biomedical and manufacturing space. Melanie Sprague got her BSME from Purdue, during which time she did co-ops with Dupuis, Johnson & Johnson, and Zimmer Biomet. She now is a senior vice president at Spectrum Plastics Group, where they manufacture vital items like medical tubing, catheters, sterile packaging, and much more. She's an outstanding mechanical engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, Melanie Sprague.
Thank you so much. First, I would like to thank you, Dr. Grohl, for this distinct honor. It's just such a pleasure to be here tonight with all of you. I can tell you, I think Purdue has just done an amazing job staying on the leading edge of technology as a whole. It was just amazing to even watch walking around campus today, a building being demoed in front of our eyes, that it's always a work in process here for sure. I wanted to express how much I've really appreciated my time that I spent at Purdue. Not only did I get a phenomenal degree that I think I got a lot of leverage out of a bachelor's degree, in my opinion. That's all it takes, really, is even just a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, and you can really reach for what you want to. But I also met my husband here. I actually met him at our co-op at Depew, and so we met working at the same desk at that point. And we've had a great life together, and I also want to mention that only about a mile from here, he proposed to me our senior year, right here on campus. Not only did he give me a diamond ring that year, but he also, engineer to engineer, gave me a lanyard with an eraser on it, one of those little clicky erasers, because we would always do homework together on that green engineering paper, and I was always losing my eraser. So just goes to show we've always been on the same wavelength for sure. My mom and dad have been just huge supporters of me. They told me from the very beginning that I could do whatever I wanted to set my mind to, and they didn't let the fact that there was never an engineer in my family, since my grandpa Hart was an engineer, it wasn't really a known thing in our family to be an engineer, and so it was pretty amazing that they supported this endeavor that was a bit unfamiliar to all of us. I also just wanted to thank my daughter Alyssa, who's here, and really all 4 of my kids who have been just relentless supporters of what I've had to do. I've spent a lot of time traveling. I've spent a lot of time focusing on my career. Even the transition of being acquired by DuPont last year meant a lot of time away from my family, and they were my rock. They carried me through all of that and were just huge supporters for me, and I just appreciated all of that. And really, the time here was just such a well-rounded experience. Talking about research, getting to work in a research lab while I was here, industry, getting the co-op experience while I was here. I definitely feel like even before grit was a thing, we were doing grit as part of our experience, and I just felt like there were so many things. I know for sure some of the sophomore design and the senior design, I will never look at a portable basketball hoop the same, because we had to work on the design for that, and we worked on the design for a braking system for a train, so when those trains stop you on the road, you always have to think about some of the times you spent back here at Purdue and some of the different design projects that we had along the way. Professor Crosgill, you were a huge part of my experience here. Professor Frankel as well. They just made my experience so much more enjoyable, just engaging us as a class, and I just loved it. And Christina, I also want to thank you just for helping me get plugged back in. It had been a number of years, and just getting to meet you a couple years ago was just brought a lot of value back to my life to be able to be here tonight. So thank you all very much.
Semiconductors have become a huge focus here at Purdue, as we now have the only comprehensive semiconductor engineering program in the country. Our next recipient was way ahead of that curve. Kartik Srinivasan works as a principal engineer for Intel at their research and development facility in Arizona. His work in R&D is helping Intel create the next generation of chips, including advanced packaging capabilities that will hopefully keep Moore's Law going for a good long time. He's also an outstanding mechanical engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, Kartik Srinivasan.
Hi, everyone. I also happen to have my LinkedIn picture, which I forgot to update. So thank you very much. I am very deeply humbled, and thank you to Professor Grohl and this department for the honor. Thank you to Professor Sigmund for nominating me, and all my faculty members, Professor Subbarayan, and everyone I interacted with. Thank you so much. As I was coming back to campus and kind of reflecting upon what to say here, the first thought that came to my mind was gratitude, especially for my parents. I had a kind of a tough time over the last year where I lost my father, and my mother is also kind of going through some medical issues. But when she heard about this award, that brought a big smile to her face, so I really want to thank you for that. I want to thank my brother, who actually came to Purdue, not to mechanical engineering, but in industrial engineering a few years before me. And he has always been a role model for me. And it was kind of cool in a geeky way that once I finished my master's, I was starting my PhD, like any proud, once I finished my thesis, I thought I would go see where it's filed in the library. And I go, it's filed right next to my brother's. So that was kind of cool. I called him up to say, mine is a lot thicker than yours. And he would say, mine is a better quality. So a heartfelt thank you to my wife, Lakshmi, who's watching my son today, so she couldn't be here. But she's also an engineer at Intel like myself, and she's been my pillar of strength and support through good times and bad. So I can't thank her enough for the many, many sacrifices she's made, both professionally and personally, for me to be up here. I wrote up this very quick speech earlier today, and my son got hold of it, and he's like, why are you not thanking me? So I want to thank him as well for reminding me every day of my childhood. And a quick thank you to all my past roommates. I stayed at Purdue for 5 years for my master's and PhD. And I had the same set of roommates for all the 5 years. It's a little rare these days. So thank you to them. I also want to thank the International Student Services, the International Friendship Program that we had. Mark Cumberwood, from that, I spent innumerable Thanksgiving dinners at his house. He also taught me how to drive. I ended up having a fender bender with his car as well. So thank you to all my mentors at Intel. I was a fresh-faced engineer, and they showed a lot of understanding and support as I came up to speed. So with that, I want to say thank you once again, and thank you for this great honor, and have a great rest of the day. Evening.
All right, you got one more in you? Okay, good. Our final recipient of the evening got his BSME here at Purdue in 1997, and then went to Stanford to be a part of the autonomous vehicle that eventually won DARPA's Grand Challenge in 2005. He's now an engineer of a different kind, serving as partner and managing director at a venture capital firm called Khosla Ventures, who has brought about such companies as DoorDash, Impossible Foods, OpenAI, and my personal favorite, Rocket Lab. While his day-to-day may be filled with talk of portfolios and ROI, at heart, he's still an engineer, and an outstanding one at that. Please welcome to the stage, Sven Stroband.
Hi, everyone. So thank you very much. It's an honor to be considered for this award. And quite frankly, it's really nice of you all. I shouldn't be surprised. I have always considered Purdue to be an exceptionally nice place, except for one event that I'm going to get to. So let me explain. You can hear from my funky accent, I'm not from around here. I arrived here from Germany with 2 suitcases in my hand at the local airport. Purdue used to have an airport here. And I was absolutely clueless. This brings me to the non-nice part. So I don't know if any of you have read the International Student Brochure from 1992. It only shows the median temperature throughout the year at Purdue. It fails to mention the deviation in summer and winter. I think that is distinctly not nice. But there was actually the last non-nice thing that happened to me. What really happened was NICE started right from the beginning. I got a ride from a nice student from the airport to Cary Quadrangle because I didn't really know where the hell I was going. Nice folks explained to me how to register for classes, how grades work in the US, and they work differently in the US than they do work in Germany. And just generally went out of their way to make certain I got like a good start at this school. And by the way, niceness rubbed off. In week 2, I actually bailed out my then roommate from jail. So I became nicer too, apparently. So classes were fun, but then I got to work at the Mechanical Engineering Electronics lab. This was a lab in the ME department, because I discovered that you have to pay for school in the US. And they gave me a job, and so I became their system administrator for the Mechanical Engineering Computer Network, which was very convenient because back then, email was also not that controlled, so I got to read a surprising amount of email. So that was kind of cool. And then every Thanksgiving, friends took me in because I was kind of stranded here, and everybody left to have Thanksgiving with their family. And so friends took me in and made me part of the family. I got to experience what American Thanksgiving is. And now it's one of my favorite holidays. And so just genuinely nice people. And then, and this really bears pointing out, I met the nicest professor I have met in my entire career. And he sits over there. That's Charles Krausgrill. So I was a lowly undergrad and was interested in building a crash test simulator numerically. And so I told Charles Krausgrill that I wanted to do that. And he said, like, yeah, we can do that. Why don't we meet like every week? And keep in mind, I was a lowly undergrad. There was really no benefit for Charles to working with me. But he did it anyway. And that was really, really amazing. I will never forget it. And he also introduced me to a whole bunch of fun things, like thinking about mechanics in variational terms and Lagrange equations and like all these sort of wonderful things that later on helped like doing PDEs and so on. So I've been the recipient of lots of niceness from Purdue, not the least of which is a good education, and I genuinely thank you for that. And I've learned, now that I'm old, that on the Venn diagram of accomplished and nice, you want to strive for the greatest possible overlap. And to me, Purdue is kind of the epitome of that. Very, very accomplished, but also genuinely nice, trying to help people to get their start. So, but tonight, I just thank you for keeping the niceness train rolling, I guess. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I also brought my high school age son, so he could, finally experience a university that is accomplished and nice, and maybe we can keep the family train going as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Sven. If we could, I'd like to offer one last round of applause for all of our 2024 outstanding mechanical engineers. Your inspiring stories are truly what keep us all going, the staff, the faculty, and also the students. You set the example of what Purdue MEs are able to achieve, and you make us all want to push even further to achieve even more. And with that, our program is concluded. Before you go, make sure you did I mention these are not available anywhere, but right here. They'll be on the table over there as you leave. Please grab a few to give to your friends, your family, your high school-aged prospective students. We really appreciate that. Yes. Yes. And all the OMEs, if you could stay, we're going to take a group photo with everybody. So thank you. Wish you all safe travels home, continued success in everything you do. Boiler up, hammer down, and hail Purdue.